Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast today. Well, before we crack on, we're going to start with a little introduction of each other's. Let's just say because we have two main guys here, and I want to make it proper this time rather than just jumping in. So, first, some introductions. We have Skyler Brooks here, who is a business gentleman, ranked top 5 in Indiana, if I'm not wrong, and also, am I correct,
Yeah,
Skyler?
that's all right. At 220, yes. Yeah, correct.
And also, he recently qualified in second position during the East vs. West qualifiers in Orlando, Florida. And of course, beautiful cat, Michael. Beautiful cat.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Hey, Misha.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And,
Bengals, we got one too.
Man, gorgeous, amazing cats.
They are. They really are.
Yeah.
and we have the main guy here today, Michael Todd. If anyone is watching this podcast and doesn't have a clue who is Michael Todd, well, let's crack on. And please, if I'm wrong, Michael, just correct me. Michael Todd, a wrestler with 35 years or even more of experience in arm wrestling, 23 world titles, 36 national titles. I mean, you have been pulling in, I would say, almost everywhere. You've been pulling in the Arm Wars, the Slotty Tour, the WAF World Championships, organizations, of course, like King of the Table, The Wall. I mean, you've been everywhere as well, pulling with authentic arm wrestling history guys, top names such as John Bersenk, Denis Ipenkov, Richard Lux, Devon Larratt, of course, Alexei Voivoda, many guys. So you are definitely one of the guys that represents itself history of arm wrestling, and you are currently one of the guys that is in the main topic currently. As well, we just finished the East vs. West 15, and you had a very nice battle against Gennady Viklinia, which is your recent victory. Okay, so welcome to the podcast.
Happy to be here. Happy to be here.
I would really like to just start quickly because I just remember what day is it today, more or less, and talking about history and so on. I would really like to have a quick look into two things I would really like to discuss very quickly, so we can just more or less start with an appetizer. And I'm just going to share the screen with you guys, if you don't mind, quickly. The first thing I will, in terms of history, let's just say, Michael, do you remember this table, or do you recognize what it is?
Zoom it in a little bit. Yeah. There you go. Where is that one from?
So this is the table, the last table you ever pulled with Andrew Pushkar.
Andre Pushkar. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the table,
The
and
body tour. I mean, the arm fight 2017.
yeah, a very interesting piece of
Amazing.
history, buddy. And I wanted to show you this just to, well, because I've been lucky enough to train with this table. Yesterday, I believe it was the anniversary of Andrew Puskar, and because I saw today a publication that you made on Instagram, and as well, talking a little bit about, to start with this. She's been recently awarded in Arkansas's Walk of Fame, Michael.
Yeah. Congratulations, Michael. That's amazing, man.
I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to believe that Andre's been gone 6 years. You know, it was 6 years anniversary yesterday. That was a moment in arm wrestling that just stunned me. When I heard the news, I just started bawling. Couldn't believe it. He was someone who really was my benchmark. He's the reason I trained as hard as I did, you know. And I really thought our story had a lot more chapters. Like I figured we'd be arm wrestling a lot more times. So it's always hard knowing that he's gone, right? So that's always the thing. And seeing his wife and son over East versus West is always very touching. Yeah, great people, great group. Love the Pushkar family. And then on to the Walk of Fame. That was something that I love. I love Hot Springs. I love our history here. And right down in front of our visitor center, they got the Arkansas Walk of Fame. And I've walked down there numerous times and looked at the different names. And you got Sam Walton, you know, the person who started Walmart, Johnny Cash, Bill Clinton, Maya Angelou, like just General MacArthur. I mean, like it's a crazy peer group to be in, you know, and
that's an elite list.
Yeah, to have a Monster Michael Todd Black because of arm wrestling on that Walk of Fame is one of those things that, it just shows you that this obscure sport that I started at the Saline County Fair, 1990. So my 34th anniversary was back in September. So I'm a couple months into my 35th year of competing. That little decision I made, over 34 years ago has led to this amazing life full of awesome life experiences. And, now there I am forever. We'll be on that Walk of Fame. So it's pretty crazy.
How how did it happen? I mean, I'm very curious, to be honest. Like, how did you get dominated, and how the thing happened really? How did you ended up receiving the call?
Basically, the gentleman, Tom Wilkins, who came up with the idea back in 96, I believe, had, he knew I was here. He'd heard about my accomplishments, and they basically 6-7 months ago asked me if I would accept if they wanted to put me in. I'm like, absolutely, of course I would. And the craziest thing about it, that's 6-7 months ago. Could have been 8 months ago. Could have been any weekend. I mean, 52 weeks a year. Could have been any weekend. And the weekend of my induction was the day before the 1-year anniversary of my mother passing. So very
Wow.
very emotional weekend for me,
Yeah, absolutely. Wow.
I mean, to be honest, Michael, you alongside in the world of arm wrestling, you alongside Jake Ward, you have one of the stories that it impresses me the most. Jake Ward, I mean, if anyone is watching this, of course, I mean the Aussie arm wrestler. I mean, if you don't know what I'm talking about, the story of Jake Ward, the Aussie arm wrestler, is that being very brief, he did several runs in Australia, collecting funds, collecting money for breast cancer. Even he ran 1,000 kilometers, the last big run that he made, raising money for this. And this, what I am telling, is public information. We discussed this in one of the podcasts, and also he has a very nice podcast called Leading Our Own Way on YouTube. And in this podcast, for example, Jay Ward discussed that all the money that raised for breast cancer, so on, helping, and then his wife ended up having breast cancer, which also helps all the money that collect to help her. So it's like a very, very curious story, very nice story. And your story of overcoming injuries, the ups and downs, everything that we have been seeing through the years, the love and hate from the community as well, everything. And seeing you in the last 2 years since you had the injury in your arm and coming back again and having these wins, Lars, and lately Gennady, it's something very, very inspirational, to be honest, Michael.
Yes.
Seeing you like this.
It means a lot. I appreciate it. And, if anyone's been following, it's, I'm just doing the work, man. I feel like it's a higher power at work here. And my job's just to do the work. And we're just going to show that all things are possible through Christ. And that's really what it comes down to for me. The loss of my mom was something very hard. And then finding ketamine most likely saved my life. Just being able to reset. But the second session of ketamine, I was completely under, and I'm going through the matches and I'm speaking them out loud to Rebecca, and probably 5 or 6 times I repeated them. Some of the names changed later on. Like, I didn't think it was going to be Camille. I thought it was going to be Svetkov. I didn't think it was going to be Gennady. I thought it was going to be Vitaly. That's how I figured my year would finish back in February when I was doing the ketamine. But I saw this path, and so far it's all come to fruition. So I'm just going to keep doing the work,
Yeah, absolutely. That's an incredible story, Michael. And I can relate. I lost my dad a year and a half ago, and I know what kind of hurt that puts on you. And so I definitely know where you're coming from. And your story is just more or less a massive inspiration to people that don't know it. And the people that don't know the Michael Todd story, I feel like you need to invest in it, because maybe it can save your own life, because it's, the people that we love, it can put a major crutch on you when you lose them. And like Michael knows, like I know, like all kinds of people all over the world know, it's a terrible thing, you know, and it hurts us to the deepest parts of our heart. But like what you're doing, Michael, you know, through arm wrestling, the comeback, the trajectory, the way things are looking, it's honestly unbelievable. Like, it's so fun to watch. It's so impressive. You're an inspiration to everybody across the world, in my opinion. I think it's unbelievable, man. I really do.
Means a lot. I really appreciate it. Like I said,
Congratulations.
it's just, I'm just a vessel, buddy. I'm just doing my part. But yeah, it's it's pretty cool stuff. Just thankful and blessed.
Yeah, man. I mean,
Yeah.
just remembering this, I remember watching the podcast you had with Engin and Gennady prior to the ASB's Watch 15, of course, and there was a moment that you said that it wasn't about being overall in the world at all. It was not about showcasing yourself. It was about showcasing what is possible. And I remember that phrase, like, literally I had to stop it and put it back. It was very, very deep phrase, inspirational, and I will say. But anyway, if anyone is watching, my friends, and I totally advise you going, for example, if you're curious about knowing the experience of Michael Todd getting healed, go into his YouTube channel. He has tons of videos talking about the surgery that he went through year and a half ago, the retachment.
Yeah, March 3rd. So we're 20 months ago.
20 months ago.
Yeah.
Just follow the story, guys. It's completely amazing. But having said this, Michael, I had a podcast not so long ago with Neil Pickup, and I was the topic of the match that we had with him in Spain, in Mallorca, came in, and he was also mentioning that it was pretty amazing performance. And I was wondering, actually, you know, when you're watching, because you also spoke about this in your channel 2 years ago. And first question I would like to ask you about this, talking a little bit about history, because I'm very, very curious. How is it possible that you ended up keep pulling with that injury? I don't know. I'm not sure about the kind of injury, but I believe that your arm broke during that match, and yet you continue pulling.
Yeah. So what ultimately happened was down the road a year, less than a year later, 9 months later, something like that. The medial collateral ligament ripped off the bone, flexor mass rolled up the forearm, my elbow dislocated about 6 inches. It was all those. There never was a break, but there was a lot of tendon ligament tears, bone chips popping. Like, there's just a lot of damage that happened in preceding matches. So yeah, that was just a painful day. I was trying to put on a show. The thing about Arm Wars was, when you knew you were ahead, you want to give a little bit. Like, you never not try, but you give up a little bit and see if you can take it back to make the matches more interesting, right? So I was pulling I would have told you, who was it, man? Good kid, can't remember. Tall, lanky, top roller, pulled him right and left. But yeah, I pulled him first for a world title defense, and I won 5-1, I believe. One of those matches tweaked my arm pretty bad, and I still fought through it. So then Neil was like, "Well, it's me and you next one. Yeah, my arm's trashed." He's like, "Well, let's pull." So we got up there, and it was just, the popping and cracking and different things. Yeah. I mean, there might have been a fracture or something, but it was all tendon ligament damage. It was really severe. Because I came home from that, and then it wasn't a month later, I went and pulled the WAF Worlds in Italy, and my left was trashed. I mean, I don't even remember. I know Gennady beat me, and maybe Sergey Tokarev beat me left-handed, because it's men's 242s. And then I went over to January. My arm was feeling really good January, and I was showboating with Terrence Opperman, and I was way ahead, and then I was showboating, and then it went pop, pop, pop. And then by the end of the day, that was black and blue from my pec all the way down to my fingertips. And that's when the doctor misdiagnosed it. They said it was a muscle tear. It's actually a partially torn ligament. So 4 months later, when I went to pull Wagner, I didn't test it out or anything. And I just drove in with all it was worth, and that's when it came loose. Yep. So it was all preceding the ultimate left arm coming apart versus Wagner. But yeah, I mean, just sometimes, man, you just don't think about the pain. You just keep arm wrestling. That's how it works. You heading out, babe? All right. Love you, sweetie. All right, be safe. Now my phone's on do not disturb, so just call twice if you need me. All right.
Yep. That's arm wrestling sometimes at its best, isn't it? We just kind of rip through the pain sometimes.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
speaking of that, so how's the right after the match? How, that was a pretty good war with Gennady. Is everything feeling good, feeling fresh?
Eight days later, I broke my own world record on pronation, hit a 191.5. So
yep, you must be feeling pretty good.
Yeah. So I was going to go ahead and start Monday. So that was on Sunday. On Monday, I was going to start my new programming. And I went out and I did a few lifts, and my bicep felt weird. I mean, because it's weird, like it was 26 pounds less than the weight I did the day before, Now, I did hit that 280 pronation gauge back pressure, and it was pretty strenuous. So I was like, huh. And I've thought for a second that I might have done some damage in my bicep.
Yeah.
I did a little BPC 157. I had my nurse practitioner come over to ultrasound. I did some physical therapy. But my nurse practitioner came over Wednesday and ultrasound it, said bicep looks perfect, everything's great. So I thought about starting back today on the program that I was going to start on Monday. And now, I was like, I'm going to go ahead and just wait till Sunday, because my new training regimen is Sunday through Thursday with my chest, back, arms, shoulders, legs. And then every other day is going to be my arm wrestling specific list: pronation, over top knuckle riser, press change, back pressure, cupping, all that. So I'm like, well, I'm already off Friday and Saturday. Let's just let my body heal completely, and I'll get everything started on Sunday. So instead of starting at 165 that I was going to start today, I'm just going to act like I did today, and I'm going to start Sunday at 166. So the way the programming works is I'll go up a pound. So I was doing 3/4 of a pound every day. I will go, because what it is, I hit this PR, and then I back off a lot. And then I do daily lifts. People are like, how are you doing these daily lifts? Well, I'm like this, it's 85% of my max, and I'm just going up, So now it's a pound a day increase, a pound a lift every other day increase. So every 2 days I increase a pound. So instead of doing 0.75, it's essentially a half a pound a day, because it's a pound every two. And like I said, I'll start at 166 on Sunday, which means I don't even get back to my world record numbers until 1st of January. Even like the second week of January or something. Hey, 1st January. Because on January 24th, I'm programmed to hit a 200-pound pronation, which will be 2 weeks, 15 days out from the match. Then I'll do a week of BFR volume training, and then I'll do another week of nothing.
Well,
be very difficult to pin with that lift.
Well, also I'm programmed to do a 147 over the top knuckle riser, a 307.5 pronation gauge back pressure, 185-pound cupping for 50. And then I got a new machine that came in, which is you might have seen on Brandon Allen's Instagram. It's Arm Combat. It's a side pressure handle, got the wheel with the teeth and the chain, and it's the side pressure machine.
Yes.
So that'll be more or less side pressure and shoulder press. I don't train my shoulder press at all. Like,
that's crazy.
My shoulder press is completely untrained.
Yeah.
So
you just do regular tricep training, basically.
Well, I mean, I don't see. To me, a shoulder press isn't tricep.
Yeah,
you see Ermes doing this for his tricep. That's great. But when I hit you with the press, that's not how I'm pressing it.
Right.
I mean, obviously your triceps and shoulders come into play, your chest, all that. But yeah, my press just comes from being explosive and having good pushing muscles, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if I start training my press, especially with some heavy weights, and I find out where my baseline is, and then I increase that 10% or something by the time I pull Ermes, and then another 10% by Levan or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm going to end up being really strong.
Yes, I agree.
Hey, Misha. Yeah, that's the plan.
This is a very recurrent topic, like how you guys, the big boys, the bigger stars, you see the training philosophy, the workout distribution. But I mean, you already spoke about what would you do in a couple of in the days and the distribution. How would you distribute it? But very quick question: how would you say you train normally in in a year time? If you have no pressure, like you are always going to work with a programmation of increasing weights, working, let's just say, just for an example, so you can understand me, let's say from 1 rep to 8 reps, like in strength programmation, or you are going to do some months as well working with high reps? How would you more or less,
So I'll just break it down super simple.
Yeah.
I'm going to reincorporate deadlifting this Sunday in the next 10 weeks. The first deadlift session, I'll go up to 495 for a single. It'll go 10, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1 single, 495. The following week, will go to 525. Next week, 545. Next week, 565. So 95, 25, 45, 65. I'll go 75, 85, 95, 605, 615, 625. My best ever 605 for double. So I'll hit a 625 program, 625 prior to Ermes. And then it'll go back and you'll do some reps. And then I'll go upstairs and I'll do a 30 rep back workout. So all my circuits, so chest, back, arms, legs. Well, legs are 50 reps, shoulders, right? I'm going to do 30 rep sets, 5 rounds, 30 reps. So what I did this last prep, well, I started this last prep out because I'd finished the last prep going to Camille. I was going to get back to a 500-pound, raw bench. Well, I got up to 420 and I felt like my left pec, I came down and it felt like my left pec was about to tear. I was like, oh, well, enough of that. So I don't want to do the singles to that 1 rep max on that movement. So what I'm deciding to do this program, and Rebecca's putting out a video from Sunday. She'll be putting that out tomorrow probably. And my chest programming, pumping reps, incline 225 for 30, flat 225 for 30, decline 225 30, go upstairs, pec deck, push-ups, whatever, with, battle ropes, wrist rolls, cable pulls, whatever. But this next weekend, it'll be 235. The next weekend, 245. And I will go all the way up to my final week will be 315 for 30, 315 for 30, 315 for 30. Now, very few people can do, even if it's pumping reps, can move that much weight that long. So is that stronger than a 500 plus pound raw bench? Because here's the kicker. Let's say Levan has a 575 bench, right? I'm not going to get a 575 bench. But can Levan do sets of 30 with 315?
Yeah.
Incline, flat, decline. Maybe, maybe not. Point is, when the match stops, which is what I will do, which is more important, 1 rep max strength or endurance rep strength?
Yeah, it's obvious.
Right? So having be able to do these workouts with 30 rep sets. So like my best ever completed workout was the whole stack 250 country crush spinning handles, 30 reps, lat pull down, seated rows, all that stuff. I did a 260, but I didn't finish all 30. So the best completed is 250. The last 2 preps, I've hit both of those and then I backed off. This last one, I was supposed to go 255 and 260, but I backed off because everybody's telling me don't get hurt, don't get hurt. This next one, I'll probably hit it to go 255, 260, and then probably get close to 275 for 30 reps on lat pull down, seated row. The biggest thing is, so I'm doing high volume circuits 5 days a week. Then I'm doing singles on pronation gauge, pronation over the top knuckle riser. Now what I'm doing this time, so over the top knuckle riser, I hit a 138.5. I'm going down to 130, and I'm going up a half a pound every 2 days. So instead of a half a pound a day, it's a half a pound every 2 days. So 70 days, 35, half of that 17.5. It's actually going to end up being 147 because I missed the day. I'm starting a day later, right? So 147 over top knuckle riser is where I'm programmed to hit. The next one was crazy because I just hit the 280 on the pronation gauge back pressure. I'm going all the way down to 180 pounds. I'm starting this week at 180. But the 180 won't be reps. I'm going to pull 180 back in pronation gauge back pressure and hold it for a 10 count. 2 days later, I'm going to pull 185 back. 2 days later, I'll pull 190 back. And I'll do 10-second holds probably for the first 8 lifts, maybe. I just had to figure it out. Then I'll go to 5-second holds. Then I'll go to 3-second holds. Then I'll just go to powerful singles, right? So that when I hit that 265 again, which will be like December 21st, the 23rd, instead of going to, because I'm still not at my PR, right? So my PR is 280. I'm just doing them every day. So even starting at 180, I don't hit my PR until January again.
Yeah.
But I'll go up 2.5 pounds a day. And that way I was programmed originally, I was going to set my program up to do 300. I changed it. I think it's going to be a 307.5 is what I think I'm going to end up hitting.
Wow.
So imagine 140 kgs through the thumb, around the wrist, trying to turn your palm in, that strap, the belt trying to turn your palm in. Pronation engage, back pressure. So the thing about it, and I showed you the video, maybe y'all saw it or not, because people saying, it's not translate, da-da-da. Well, I'm hitting that move, and the very first move I do on Gennady is boom, the exact same movement that I'm training. Well, what's crazy about that move is you see me do it, and I come over this way it's all back pressure, but I tilt my body just to where it hits like to maybe a third of the way over, not on purpose. All I'm trying to do is control the center of the table. So every start against Gennady, all I was trying to do was go backwards. I applied no side pressure whatsoever. But when as soon as they say go and the match stops, I'm not here, I'm here. I didn't realize how strong I was because I hadn't been on the table. If you go back to round 2, after they called me for the false start in the press, which wasn't a false start, then you see me in a referee's grip, top rolling this close to pinning him outside the strap, which I haven't seen that happen to him in a decade. Had I known that I was that strong, once we applied the strap, I would have just hit sideways.
Yeah.
Like I literally think I could have sat just like this and just revved up and hit sideways and flashed him in the strap in a top roll.
Yeah.
I just didn't know I was strong enough to do it. So I just wanted to be cautious and control center of the table. Because I told him he wasn't going to beat my hand. I'm shutting down the lane to beat my hand. Devin's already said I've shut down the lane to hook me. It's impossible to hold on to me and hook me. I mean, over 190-pound pronation and 280 pounds of pronation game back pressure, you cannot turn me in a hook.
No.
So that's a lane that's no longer available.
Right.
I'm going to shut down the outside lane. I will shut down your ability to top roll through my hand.
Yeah.
And once you do, your only recourse will be to come towards me. And we'll be in a flop press because I'm unhookable.
Right.
I'm not strong enough to shut down these lanes yet, but I'm getting really close.
Yeah.
I mean, I shut down Gennady immediately. His only option was a bent wrist press. There was nothing else he could do. So Ermes is going to be a tall order because his rods are so strong. He's a very strong cup, but there is a vulnerability. And it will be through pronation engaged back pressure. Because he's so used to, see, this is the thing. He calls this back pressure, which to me is up pressure and hammer curl pressure. He called, because you're using your biceps to create that pressure, right? To me, that's not a back pressure. Back pressure is when your elbow has to move, has to slide and use your back, right?
Yeah.
But this is still a great pressure. It's very important pressure. But to me, it's up pressure. It's not back pressure. So let's just say I get my riser as strong as his riser. Say he's 100%, I'm 98, 97. Very similar riser strength, right? And he applies his version of back pressure, which is through the bicep. And I apply my version of back pressure, which is through my lat. Do you know a bicep that's stronger than a lat?
Yeah. None.
I don't either.
Yeah.
So, I mean, once he's tied to me, the lane that he thinks is available, which is cupping, posting, up pressure, back pressure through his bicep, and walking over my hand, isn't going to be available.
Yeah, I don't see it either. Not with that type of rise. As
long as my rise, and you can still go watch Devin pulling and watch that move where, Ermes has a high knuckle, Ermes goes sideways, Devin applies pronation and back pressure through the bottom of his hand.
Yeah,
Ermes' wrist goes like that.
Yep.
Ermes says he's fixed that since then. Okay, cool. But Devin that without rise. Devin that with a low hand top roll. So if my rise is intact and it's close to as strong as Ermes' rise, his bicep's not stronger than my back.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree 100% on everything you're saying. And that's before you said translate to the table as well. That's what I was getting ready to mention. It's like all these lifts that you're doing as well, they're completely transferable. And you can see it, like the Gennady match. What I watched was, everything you're doing with pronation and rise, it was totally transferable because it's not like Gennady's press is weak. I mean, good grief, that guy has a press from hell. Everybody knows that. So for you to just stick him in that spot, just like you did Camille, I mean, it's a very difficult task to pin you.
The reason,
Go Go
The
ahead.
reason I'm able to do it now is because my riser is no longer injured. I don't have compromised riser and nerve
Right.
damage.
Makes
Because
sense.
when you go watch Rivas press me, he press, and then my riser drops.
Right.
Well, once my riser drops, that's at 2 inches that I'm above the pad. Once the riser drops, now I'm pinned, right? If the riser doesn't drop, I don't get pinned.
Right.
You know, so the fact that my riser integrity is there, the flop press isn't. I mean, it's not a. And the thing is, like, well, how did he pin you when Camille didn't pin you? Well, I stayed in a defensive posture against Camille. I was transitioning open. I had to open up lanes to transition to pin versus Camille, which then opens up an opportunity for me to get pinned as well.
Of course.
If I stay in a defensive posture, there's no lane.
No.
I mean, my bicep would have to tear again because people think that I'm stretched out on my bone. If you get me to my bone, I have to let up. It's right before you get me to my bone, my bone lock is where I'm stopping you at, because it's all bicep tendon. Think about it. I've got a completely rebuilt arm with a reattached tendon that my doctor said your bones will splinter apart before your tendon comes back out.
Yeah.
So this is not on my bone. I'm holding you through that tendon and bicep. But people think, the stickiness is the bone. If you hit me to the bone, I'm in a arm bar and I got to let up.
Yeah.
I'm in an arm bar, it hurts,
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. It's cool. I'm doing what I can with what I got. And I do think that between now and Ermes, if you just say a 280 to a 307.5, that's a 10% increase in strength. Let's go 191.5 to 200. That's what, a 4.5% increase in strength. You go 138.5 to 147, 5% increase in strength. You go from 170 to 185, 8.5% increase in strength. So that's the percentages that I believe I will be stronger when I pull Ermes than I was when I pull Gennady.
Yeah.
Now I already have numbers planned out for where I'm going to be at when I pull Levan, because I do think Levan is a favorite going against Jerry, and I think I'm most likely pulling Levan. Now Jerry can win. I just think I'm betting on Levan because the chances are Levan goes 3-4-0. But if Jerry ever stops it and Levan hangs on, I've said this every interview, I think it's a bad day for Levan. You can't hold on to him. I mean, if he gets his arms set, don't think you're just going to pull back through it.
Yeah,
it's a tricky mess to try to get back through that shit. So,
yes.
But yeah, so I think I'm those numbers stronger in 12 weeks when I pull Ermes, and then fast forward another 12 weeks, I think I'm equally those percentages stronger again. So the level that I intend to bring in 6 months potentially could be as high a level as the sport's ever seen.
Very impressive.
Yes, I mean,
specific to how I arm wrestle. Right?
Of course.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
You are definitely not the same guy or same arm wrestler as 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. You have changed. I mean, that's clear. You have new tools. Let's just say after the surgery and recovery. Now you have, and it's going to, I mean, woof. I mean, right. If you have to flip a coin and try to guess the future, what is going to future between you and Ermes? I think it's going to be a war. And for example, it was today or yesterday when we saw on YouTube Ermes taking up again what they call the top pipe and starting showing some exercise, how he was trained again, how is he going to train and prepare for you and everything. We still have a couple of months ahead, and I am honestly expecting like what it's going to be a war. I mean, Hermes has been improving, you have been improving, so it's not the same. It's not going to be the same as in the past. Definitely not. Now, from my point of view, I have to say that I see as a slightly favorite, not too much, as a slightly favorite, perhaps Hermes. But however, as said, still have a couple of months ahead, and we will see. We will see. I can very easily change my opinion, but that's more or less how I see it right now. And definitely, you've been doing the work. You're still doing it, so it's too early to say who's going to win or not. But from my point
It's
of
too
view,
early for you to say who's going to win.
Yeah.
I will happily declare victory right now.
I'm gonna throw in my quick opinion on this one. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys seen it, but Ermes and Devin did do some after pulling at 15. Obviously, Devin weighed in at 105. He was heavier. We all know that. But Ermes was able to pin him, a couple times, and then all of a sudden, boom, the same things happen as when they pulled the first time. So have those things been corrected? Is that real? Is this 2 months going to make a difference? The way Michael's improved, if you look at the improvement value on each side, I think that there's a major, major difference. And Michael, do you believe that in your head at this point that it's your destiny to beat Ermes and to beat Levan? Like, is this your destiny set in front of you?
I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't believe it. Like
That's
I don't.
what I'm saying.
Like I said, this is, like I said, it's not about me claiming overall number one in the world. It's not about me doing
Right.
any of those. I did a lot of this in the past because I want to prove what I could do.
Correct.
This is no longer about proving what I can do. I'm just going to prove what's possible with faith and with God. And I genuinely believe that this is something that's already been written. Now, that being said, I can't just sit on my ass and expect victory. Like,
correct.
Faith without works is dead. I will be doing the work, right? Ermes, the guy who just pulled with the practice pulls with Devin, is not that Ermes I'm going to be arm wrestling in 12 weeks.
Of
He's
course.
going to be much, much, much stronger. Let me tell you what I think is the downfall. For one, I believe I'm doing this for something greater than me, which means if you're my opponent, it's a bad day.
Yeah.
That's one. Two, he is underestimating me. He thinks I have the same weaknesses that I had before.
I am.
That's his biggest downfall. And I think he's young and he's prideful and he wants to show out and showcase his dominance. And I think that is going to be a rude awakening on the very first go.
I agree.
That's my opinion.
I agree with your opinion.
I am slightly agree. I slightly no. I'm agree with you. Come on, Dan. Reset your English. It's fine. I'm agree with you that perhaps Hermes is so underestimating you. I mean, I said before, and don't get me wrong, guys. I mean, I say right now I see as a slightly favorite Hermes, but still you are doing the work. You have improved a lot. You're a different guy. You're still improving, working hard. We have seen your change. Hermes, not so much at the moment. He's still
But
working.
Ermes is already good. Ermes is already at a very high level. I mean,
yes, absolutely.
That's the thing. I would pull Ermes next week and I still favor me. But that's still not the same because Ermes is, coming, he's just starting his preparation. I've been on this thing for a while, right? So if I could beat him next week, it doesn't have any bearing on where we're going to meet in 12 weeks, right? Or 11 weeks. The match, I guess, is 11 weeks away, right? So it is what it is. And this is, and I hate to cut you off, Tander. This is what so we just saw Gennadi's video of why he lost. Cool. Great. Everybody has opinion. You feel a certain way. That's awesome. Love Gennadi. We'll run it back someday. But let's rewind a month ago. I have zero chance of winning. He's going to destroy me.
Yeah.
Ermes, you have zero chance of winning. Your king's move. I'm going to destroy you. No chance. No chance. Hey, man, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Because you're not facing me. You know what I'm saying? You're not arm wrestling Michael Todd. Your arm wrestling Michael Todd is doing this for a higher calling, a higher purpose. So it is just a bad matchup right now.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. I mean, if this was me, and this is the biggest thing, is if I was out there beating my chest and, coming out, you've seen the last two entrances. I come out. This is not about me screaming and yelling, and I'm coming out there. I'm going to say a prayer. I'm going to kiss my wife. I'm going to shake his hand, and I'm going to win.
Yeah.
That's how it's going to go, right? It's going to be just like the last time. Now, after that last victory happens, I'm going to let out that victory roar. I'm going to let out that, and I'm going to give God the glory. That's going to happen. And I don't know if you guys know this. I think Skyler knows. There's a high probability that when I win this next match and I get to face the winner of Levan and Jerry, which I do believe is going to be Levan, that match happens in Hot Springs, Arkansas, 5 miles from my house, in my hometown.
You have the biggest motivation there, I
Oh
believe.
my gosh.
These things don't happen because I want them to happen. These things happen because they're meant to happen. You know,
Correct.
like this is just bigger than me. And I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to keep telling people, and people are going to believe it eventually.
Yeah. I hope and pray that happens. I'll be praying on it every night. That'll be a great day for all of us when that comes.
What
And
what an exciting future we have in the
absolutely.
just in a couple of months. Wow. So let me just, if you don't mind, guys, rewind a little bit because Michael, rather than just because obviously you've been doing tons of podcasts lately and going through many questions. And I would really like, despite of repeating some of them, I would really like to really throw you just a few questions because I'm very curious about this. Now, having in perspective all your career, your, let's just say, your ups and downs, the evolutions, the injuries, the recovery, I would really like to ask you about um, achievements in terms of what you consider that are your achievements in general that you feel the most proud of.
Good question. So I'm gonna let you guys talk amongst yourself for a second. I'm gonna run hit the restroom. I'll be right back. Just give me about 3 minutes now. Give me just a second. I'll be right back, guys.
Gotcha. Oh, well, Daniel.
Skyler,
Yeah.
buddy, I've been doing things, so I've been doing this, like having chats with, I'm not gonna edit anything, and I'm going to leave everything. My point is, I've been doing interviews and chats already a good bunch of time. I'm still feeling like it was the first day, like same kind of nerve, the same like And to be honest, sometimes like I watching myself from a third person, just
Uh-huh.
watching me and watching the guys just talking is like incredible, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great. It's great.
So, and if anyone, guys, if anyone is watching, well, if anyone not, the guys that are watching this, what do you think about the next coming super match between Ermes and Michael? Despite it's a bit early, but who do you think is gonna take the match, guys? Just leave me a comment with it.
Yeah, this is a big one, guys. This is this is the rematch for Levan. Basically, if as long as Levan takes care of business in December against Jerry, then this match is the match to determine who he will pull next. So it's not to be taken lightly. It's a big one. What's everybody think? Oh, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be such a good match, Daniel. How do you get much better?
You know
How
what?
do you get much better?
You know something that has become already a kind of a chanter in our community that this is the best card ever. This is the best match ever.
Yep.
It's happening.
Here we
Our
go
world of arm
again.
wrestling is never getting boring. Not at all. Nothing expecting, man. And
No.
a thing like this, wow, it's really in this case, like with this gentleman, with Michael Todd, is very inspirational. At
Yeah.
his 51 years old, been through a lot of injuries, ups and downs. I said earlier, and I'm going to say it again. Seeing him coming back stronger than ever, I would say. And even he said
Yeah.
it myself. He has been probably in the best shape of his life. So
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I think all the lifts speak for themselves. I think what he's done on the table speaks for themselves. I think it all speaks for itself. And he can speak for himself once again because here he is.
And yes, and I am absolutely blessed and happy of having the chance of having both of you guys having this chance to talk to you through a couple of questions. Yeah, this is a blessing for me.
Thanks for having me, Daniel, and thanks for coming on with us, Michael.
Of course. So
It's been fun.
back to your question before I left was, what are my accomplishments that I'm most proud of? First ever world title was 2005. So WWC World Wrestling Championship, left-handed 242-pound division. I took second that day, right-handed to Ron Bath. Left-handed, I beat Tom Nelson. Tom Nelson beat Ron Bath. I beat Tom Nelson.
Yep.
Tom Nelson beat Ron Bath. Tom Nelson came back and beat me. I came back and beat Tom Nelson from this far from being beat. Like horrible, horrendous position. Just the crowd yelling. I was like, I'm not losing this match. Pulled him back from the brink of death. Boom. So that was it. Then Arm Wars. Then I go over to Arm Wars. I win the Battleground. Neil brings me back to pull for the Arm Wars Heavyweight World title. I win right and left. Pretty dominant fashion. And then, I defend that numerous times. Marcel Boza, several other people. End up losing the right-handed to Yoshi Kanai. Defend the left-handed. Remain left-handed champ for a while. Then lose it to Wagner when my arm comes apart. Then I win the interim super heavyweight versus Richard Lupkes because Devin was out due to injury. So I beat Richard 6-0 and I become the interim super heavyweight champion. But prior to that one I was the Arm Wars heavyweight champ, and Andre Pushkar was the PAL Intercontinental International World Champion is what they called it on their website.
Mm-hmm.
And they set that match up. Everyone who predicted that match said I would lose. Ingen Terzi gave me a 20% chance of tying 3-3. Said that's the best I could do. Igor and them bet Neil $1,000 that Pushkar beat me 6-0. I said, take that bet, tell him I'm going to win 6-0. Round one, slip, strap, ready, go, break the buckle, reapply it, ready, go, buckle flies out into the audience. They tie a knot in the strap, put the brakes on him, pin him, win 6-0. Probably my biggest victory. Go on to become the UAL world champ, get a $10,000 ring for beating Jerry Caderet 3-0. One first round was 2.5 minutes, second round was 1:45, third round was 2:45, won 3-0 against Jerry.
Wow.
NAO world title, I beat Dave Chafee at CrossFit Games 3-0. So I became the NAO world champion, National Arm Wrestling League, by defeating Dave. Then WAL World Champion 2017 in the division that I wasn't seated in because they convinced me to come over from UAL to WAL. I went ahead and came over and signed an agreement with them, but I lost my qualifier. I ended up taking third behind Travis. Beat me. Then he loses to Ian Carnegie because he knew that if we made it to the finals, I'd be able to recover because I had a really bad pump. And he goes ahead and puts me out of the tournament, and then comes back and beats Ian twice to win. So I wasn't seeded going into the finals. Top seed was Travis Bajan, second was Dave Chafee, third was Nick Zena. I had to beat all three of them in my process of winning the title. Everyone said that I couldn't win it. That Devin, everyone that was interviewed, I couldn't win a tournament that was this deep at this level because I get in long matches.
Mm-hmm.
I end up winning the 2017. They change it to super match. They get rid of the heavyweight division, and they put heavyweight division, super heavyweight division. So everyone was just saying Devin was going to be the champ because he was a heavyweight champ. And I'm like, guys, I'm the defending super heavyweight champ. He's got to come beat me. So we met in the finals. I ended up winning that. Defended it against Dave Chafee first match, beat Dave Chafee 3-0. And at that time, no one was beating Dave Chafee 3-0.
He was very strong. So,
because very next month, him and Devin went to war in that double Kings move crazy thing. Yeah. So I was the first person. I'm the only person in super heavyweight division WL to have 3 WL super heavyweight right-handed hammers. Then all that happened. I went and competed at IFA Worlds 1-2. It was Masters. I pulled the Masters division because I was off TRT and everything. So I was like, hey, let's go pull IFA. It was in Orlando. So I went and won that. And that was my 22 and 23rd world titles. So 23 world titles, heavyweight, super heavyweight division between right and left hand, 36 national titles over 6 or 7 different weight classes. 198, 209, 220, 231, 242. Yeah, 6 divisions. So I've won 36 national titles over 6 different weight categories. So, yeah, I mean, I've been at it a long time. But the ones that I don't have is the East versus West world title. So, and like I said, there's, I don't know, it's different. Like when I get the belt or the gauntlet, will I put it up in the trophy room or in the gym? Of course I will. But it won't be to showcase what I did. I'd be showcase how God worked through me. It's just like I said, it's just different feeling, different approach, different belief. Like that's the thing. And Neil said it best. When I believe, I'm a different person.
Yeah.
And I know without a shadow of a doubt that this is not something that I'm doing for me anymore. So,
yeah,
I mean, oof, I'm going to be a bit of a big mouth here, saying a comment, and you can call me crazy, right? Because I mean,
okay.
I don't know you for years and years, not at all. I mean, I know what I saw in YouTube, see you just in an event and everything, but as an outsider, okay, watching YouTube, watching your career and everything, I totally believe there has been a change in you. To be honest, like you are more,
yeah,
perhaps more humble, perhaps is the word, even more spiritual. For example, so you can understand what I'm saying. Talking about Neil Pickup, when you were pulling in the acid rain, defending trying to get a title with Devon Larratt, that match that you fought against Devon and you lost, and you say, I don't want to do this anymore, and all of that. I think that, for example, that Michael Todd is slightly different guy than from his now. You are more like, this is not about myself. This is showcasing what is possible, and you are becoming more spiritual, talking about being a vessel and everything. So it's like I think there's has been a change in you. You can call me crazy if you want to, of course. That's totally fine. But I would say that personally, I feel more this Michael Todd. I like more this Michael Todd that, for example, watching videos or so from the past. Like I feel you more like grounded, like more like a human being. And I am really very, as I said earlier on, being honest. I'm very very impressed with your story. Everything you have achieved, the way you came back stronger, and what you've been saying in a couple of podcasts, it's been very.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, the thing is so I was just always being me. Like I'm just me. I'm a competitive person. I've always been a competitive person. If it wasn't this, it'd be something else. Like I'm gonna compete. That's what I do. And it goes back to I mean, my youth. I just was a person who I wasn't good at team sports. I wanted to succeed or failed on my own merit. And I took a lot of the credit for the hard work that I did, right? I've always had an intimate relationship with God. I've always been a believer my entire life. But the loss of my mother and me trying to reconcile with why I was still here, like, didn't make sense. Like, why am I here without her here? That doesn't make any sense to me. It's not a world that I want to live in, So finding out why for me was a belief that God left me here because I had more to do, more work to do. And it just all came back to, letting my light shine, showing the world what's possible. There's a lot of people out there that, that get knocked down and don't get back up, and I've been a guy who God has blessed me with the ability to, no matter how many times I get knocked down, I just dust myself off and get back up,
Yeah.
And that's not a Michael Todd trait. That's just a blessing that God instilled in me. It's a gift that God gave me. I never was okay with just like, I say that though, I'm an all or nothing person. Like my quit is just different than the rest of the world's quit. My quit is like quit. Like I tell people I'm one workout away.
Like you die or quit.
Yeah, I'm one workout away or 1 meal away from being a 500 to 600 pound bedridden person every day of my life. Because when I quit, I quit. It's no half-ass. It's all or nothing. Just like in life for me, there's no. There's white or black. There's no gray. Like I'm very literal when I speak. When people try to make claims of my accomplishments, I correct them if they over exaggerate the claims because I never want to misrepresent myself. I've always just been that guy. A lot of people don't know how to take that when someone is so literal and so transparent. And that's just been me my entire life. So I've never played a role. I've never been anyone other than me. The emotions you see are real. It's how I feel. If I feel I've been wrong or something is unjust, I will declare that I think it's wrong and unjust. regardless of where I'm at. That's always been me. And I give credit where credit's due. Like this, it's just now I'm in a position to where I have no stress, no anxiety, no worry, because I believe wholeheartedly if I do the work, God's going to take care of the rest. So if that is in me and I believe that, who is it for me to think any other way than success? Like, I just believe that I'm going to win. I just believe that, I think Levan and a lot of people look at Levan and think it's impossible to beat him. Although people are saying Jerry's going to beat him, Jerry's going to beat him. If you look at the masses and you look at Levan's record and you look at how much Devin Lair is praised and adored in his following, and Devin wasn't able to do it. Well, if Devin can't do it, no one can do it. It's impossible. No one can beat Levan. I'm not saying Michael Todd can beat Levan. But if Michael Todd is doing it for a higher calling or a higher purpose, all things are possible through Christ, right? So on that day, when that match happens, because I've earned the right to be there because I've done the work, it won't just be me up there arm wrestling.
Yeah. Yep. Well, Levan's still human. He's not inhuman. And as a human being, we're all beatable. We're all beatable. It just takes the right person on the right day. And
Right.
If you look at Michael's trajectory, he very well could be the right person on the right day. That very well could be the case here.
Either way, I'm going to be rooting for you, Michael.
Well, I
100%.
appreciate it. So we just need to know if you're rooting for me against Ermes, because I can't get to Levan unless I beat Ermes, right? So that's the thing. We always talk about the story always ends up with Levan, because that's the impossible task, right? And that's what I believe I'm trying to show the world what's possible. But each step, if I fail at any step, I don't get to go. So I'm not looking at Levan right now. I am tunnel vision and focused on Ermes Gasparini and how to win that match the most efficiently, effective way possible. I don't want it to be a war. I don't want to be holding on to this dude for 2 minutes until he gasses out. I want to find a way through him quickly and efficiently. And
Right.
I think on that day, I will be the stronger human. I just believe I will be the stronger human when we are across the table from one another. And there'll be a point when he realizes it too.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, as I said earlier on, but I'm going to repeat myself. I mean, yes, I see a slightly favorite Hermes right now, but I'm telling you this. Yeah, I'm going to be rooting for you, Michael. Really,
I appreciate it.
No, 100%. I mean, and yeah, everyone has a bias. For example, me as a Spaniard, yes, I will always tend to support more the Italians and so on. And yes, I see like Hermes is slightly favorite. We have seen you change and progress. Hermes is doing his thing. He's already strong, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, fine. But I'm going to be rooting for you.
USA.
I mean, yeah.
Well, let's just look at it like this. I'm 51 years old. Oh, shit. Hamstring cramp. Hang on. Oh, my God. All right. So I got to stretch my leg out. I'm 51 years old. He's 31. He has plenty of time to accomplish this. I have a very short window. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's got to root for Michael Todd. You got to root for the old guy.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I love Ermes, man. He's a great kid. He's awesome. He's a warrior on the table. Gladiator's a perfect name for him. I just feel like, honest to God, I just feel like this is my time to showcase what's possible, and Ermes is going to have his time. It's just right now. I don't think it's his time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm going to be in your side, in your corner, my friend. That's it, 100%.
Right.
When it was Devon and Dennis, I was supporting Dennis. Devon and Levan, I was like, whatever, I'm going to have a party. When you pull with Frank Lamparelli, well, not really. I was supporting 100% Frank, Super Frank. But this time, yeah, it's like, because I really like, as I say earlier on 100 times, I love your story and everything and the human being that you are. So it's like, I mean, Hermes, I like as well Hermes, but if I have to pick a side, I'm going to pick your side. Even if I think that Hermes is slightly favorite, was fine, but I'm going to be in your corner in that way. Like I'm going to be rooting for you, Michael. And oh my goodness, if we crazy world of arm wrestling right now. Everything that is about to happen. Jerry, Levan,
Wow, right.
Ermes, Michael, and talking about the big boys are coming in, the newbies as well. We have to talk about a little bit about this. Brian Shaw, Eddie Hall, King of the
Yeah.
Table 13 match. So
Yeah.
we're seeing these bigger boys, strongmans coming in, even guys, for example, like Lauren Chalet. He has won right now the UK and Ireland Nationals here, and he has got his pro card. So anyway, these guys are coming into the sport and talking about these two, Brian Shaw and Eddie Hall. How do you see the match, Michael?
Well, I mean, Eddie's definitely at a disadvantage because he hadn't as much time to prepare. Neil seems to think that he's working for Eddie's progressing really well, and he knows he's going to make a fight out of it. I pulled with Eddie on a little bench table, like a bench at the Arnold Classic UK, and he, strong man, has a lot of potential. He just didn't know how to apply his strength. Problem is, he's going against a giant. Like, now, the thing is, when both of them did know how to arm wrestle, it looked like Eddie had the advantage. The last time they've been on the table, with Eddie not really knowing what to do and Brian having a little bit of technique, Brian's able to do whatever he wanted with him pretty much. Well, if Eddie's picking up the techniques now, I mean, Brian's got to be the favorite. He has to be. His mock super match that he did, the mock super match that he released yesterday, beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful.
It was.
Like, obviously he got his hand top rolled round one. Didn't apply pressure when they said go. Round two looked much better. Round three, when he just cups him in and pins him. And then round four, where he holds on to his hand, regrips, and then finishes with a press. Like, the match was already over, but the way he came in with that press was beautiful.
Yeah.
So I messaged him and told him that. He responded back to me. He said, he's still learning, having a good time. It's awesome having Brian in, and I'm sure we're eventually going to train together and I'll, see if I can help him along in his journey as well. But yeah, the sport is growing, and, the winner of that match potentially is pulling Kirill Sarchev, who is another guy who's been on the table essentially since 2018 with the likes of, Dennis and trained over there, Larry, and he's gripped a lot of guys, and he's a big fella, 6'7", 340 or so. Another large man coming in the sport. So I think they'll just continue to get there's freaks out there. The thing is, I don't care how strong you are. If you don't know how to arm wrestle, you don't just come in and take over.
No.
People are like, who's the next person to beat Levan? It's going to be an arm wrestler. It's not going to be somebody from other strength sport. It's going to be an arm wrestler. Now, can Brian and the likes of Brian progress the world elite stage faster than a normal person? Absolutely. Year, doubtful. 2, that's a stretch. 3, I mean, 2, he could be a legitimate force, super heavyweights North America, right? World level, 3 to 5 years is what I predict. And that's saying that you don't get injured and you stick with it. A lot of people quit arm wrestling because it's painful. I think Brian Shaw's different. I think he's a guy who just immerses himself into something and he is obsessive about it. And that's what it takes to be a champion. That's the same mindset it takes to be a professional athlete, world champion athlete, or a multimillionaire successful in business. Same thing. It's just where you apply that effort. And he's already proven that he can become a world champion athlete. He just has to know that I'm starting over from somewhat the beginning, and I have to, do the work and put in the work and learn how to properly apply my strengths. I think he's a great addition to the sport. And, I think Brian Shaw versus Eddie Hall is a perfect match because you have two large social media presences, right about 6 million followers between the two. If it would have been Brian Shaw versus an arm wrestler, I don't think as many outside people would tune in. But since it's those two personalities, I think there's going to be a lot of people who want to watch.
Yeah.
And then that's just going to showcase the rest of the card. It's going to showcase Levan and Jerry and everybody else that's on the card. I had been offered a match with Morzov, and then I also got another offer for Spekov. Would love both those matches. But my path has already been written, right? Like, I cannot disrespect Ermes by taking a match in mid-prep and give Ermes an entire camp.
Yeah, of course.
It just would be unrealistic. It's not smart,
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I won't be on that card. I mean, although it's in the United States, I'll be home training.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I do think Brian is a great addition to the sport. I do. Like you said, Michael, they're following, and that match alone is going to bring so many eyes to that pay-per-view. It's going to be insane. But I do think Brian's got the edge. He's been training for right at a year now, I think. And what did Eddie have? Right. 12 weeks or something like that. I just don't think there's enough time for him to catch up. Yeah, I just don't think there's enough time for him to catch up. And you can even see, in Brian's mock super match that he had, like, he learned during the match. I mean, the like you said, Michael, the very first round, he got his hand top rolled, and it's like he didn't even apply any pressure on go. And then every round after that, everything got better every single round. Right. He was more efficient every round. And the more ready goes he has, he's going to be a force. He's already a very strong individual.
The more confidence he's going to get for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I think we are all agree about Brian Shaw much advanced at Eddie Hall by far, but definitely, definitely that this is one of the things that sport needs. This kind of attention is everything changing so much and evolving that is like feeling like vertigo. How everything is changing, improving, evolving. It's like what is going to happen in 2 years. How the sport is going to be in 2 years and 3 years and 4 years if things keep going like this is crazy. Even guys like me, that I am an absolute nobody, I was just recognized in the street by a guy. Hey, you're the wrestler guy. You do videos. Like, yes, sir.
That's
very
awesome.
cool. Very cool. So on that different topic, but back to where we were earlier. So yeah, I believe God's working through me to accomplish the impossible. But just look at look what God's done already. How many people a year ago said I would never be in the top 20 again, never be in the top 15 again, never be in the top 10 again?
Yeah.
And you currently look at the East versus West rankings. Levan, Republic of Georgia, Devin Larrett, Canada, Ermes, Italy, Jerry Caderet, United States, Michael Todd, United States. 3 North Americans in the top 5.
Yep.
Now, are those rankings accurate? We don't know. Like, there's not enough data to know where Vitaly sits, where Morzov sits, where Svekov sits. We know Devin beat Svekov, right? We know that. We know Svekov beat Morzov. Yep. We know Morzov was sick when he did it. We know Jerry beat Alex. Yep. We know Alex beat Svekov, but Svekov, damn near lost a foot. So, how much does that take? So there's a lot of stuff out there we don't really know. But the current rankings, 3 North Americans in the top 5, right?
Yeah.
So God's already done amazing things. I mean, if you looked at, like I said, you go back and look at comments from a year ago, I can't compete at the elite level. I can't, I'll never be back, whatever. 2 of my pins were flash shoulder presses. And round 2 was not a false start. Go back and watch the hands move. The moment his hands move, boom, flash pin. Yep. Right? So it's all good. Like, I don't care, because I told Rebecca I wanted to win 3-0. Apparently God wanted me to win 3-2. So that's what happened. But yeah, I mean, those are shoulder press pins.
Right.
Oh, he got lucky. It's a prize. How's it a surprise when I set up in a press?
Yeah.
And I set up in a press because Gennady sets up in a press. Gennady sets up round 2 to press me.
Right.
And I told Neil, I'm going to take his hand round 1 and I'm going to beat him. And in round 2, he will be forced to try to press me. Yep. This is what I told him days before. He starts off round 2 trying to press me. So I'm like, I'm going to meet you in the center table, baby. We're going at this thing, Like, I have a lot more range of motion with my hand now. I can get to that press a lot faster than I used to. So it's just fun. It's just fun to see. And the thing is, you talk about me being different now than I was. This is the first time I've ever done these arm wrestling lifts in my entire life. Like, I never did them ever. Like, I never even tried a pronation lift until after my surgery. And I think it was like 130 something or 127, then a 132 or 133 or something. Then I didn't do it again for like 6 months, And then I think before Lars I may have done a 154, but
Mhm.
barely, barely, you know what I mean? And then the progression started when I was prepping for what I thought was Dodican and a heavyweight world title. Then it turned into a super heavyweight match, right? So
Yeah.
I still think I'm getting somewhat newbie gains. You know what I mean? Like I'm getting my body is adapting to these specific movements that directly translate to how I arm wrestle. So when I think about the possibilities of where I'll be at for Ermes and the possibilities of where I'll be at for Levan, I don't think they're unrealistic. I'm watching the progress and it's steadily upward trajectory. Now, I currently sit at about 303, 304 pounds right now. I will most likely weigh in versus Ermes around 315.
Yeah.
Which is 145 kgs.
That's the biggest you've ever been, correct?
Well, I've been a fat 323.6 in the mornings before. After I pulled.
But I'm saying better shape.
Yeah. Oh God, no. Yeah, I mean, I've actually hit a 22-inch pump on my arms again Wednesday night, so that means that 22-inch measurement I had a few weeks back wasn't a fluke. Like I pumped up to 22 again.
Yeah.
So imagine me, 5 kgs bigger, right? 6 kgs bigger than I am now, and then fast forward another 12 weeks, I'm 150 to 155 kgs when I pull Levan.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I honestly think I'm going to be almost as big as him.
Yeah.
He's just going to have some extra body fat that I don't have. I think I'm going to be almost as big. Like he had a 28 centimeter wrist. I had a 25 centimeter wrist. I think I'll probably get close to 26, maybe a little bigger. By the time you put another 30 pounds on me, I'm probably 28 centimeter wrist, right? Maybe 23-inch arm. Who knows, right? 22 and change, 23. I'm going to be a very similar sized human.
Yeah.
So when the match stops, I'm going to have a very similar power, fundamental strength base that he has, which is the difference between when Devin stopped the match. Devin has the most arm wrestling specific strengths in the world, and he has the best leverage, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to have as good a leverage, very similar or greater strengths, and then I'll have that fundamental power base behind it to back it up. So I'm excited about where things are going. It's hard for me to take 2 days off a week. Like right now, today's an off day, tomorrow's an off day. I'm not used to doing that. But I've also realized that recovery is just as important as training. So I got to make sure that I don't overtrain or subsequently under recover, right? So that's where I'm at.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome to hear. Awesome to hear. It's good news. Really good news.
Exciting times.
Yes, and as mentioned earlier, you have proved many people wrong in assumptions about you. That very well said. I mean, you have been like loved and hate a lot in the last years, and how the waves have changed in the internet. Many people throw in negativity towards you, and now a lot of love as well. And people saying, yeah, you have to quit, or your career is over and everything. And again, proving everyone that many things are possible, and you're doing the job, and you'll come back. And as I said earlier on, sorry for me repeating myself, very inspiring story.
I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Story. I'll tell you, I had a great interest of having this conversation and podcast with you. To just watching everything outside. And I remember the podcast that we had with Nino, maybe 1 year or something ago. I remember you barely felt your fingers yet, and you didn't know how you were going to be after that. And seeing all how everything has been going, and seeing you doing the flash pins and everything, different guy. And I tell you, ooh.
Sky's the limit. Sky's the limit at this point.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's what I see.
I was literally going to throw you a couple of questions more about the training, but it's like literally we have touched like all the silver the bullet points that I had here on my little piece of paper. So it's literally the future is ahead of us. We have a couple of matches coming up. King of the Table 13, then the future January match against Ermes.
Yeah.
Jerry, Levan, everything. I'm excited, Michael. I really want to keep watching closer your progression, how you're still improving, making those numbers up. And again, sorry for saying again, I'm going to be rooting for you, honestly.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I
Honestly.
appreciate you guys.
It's like
Thanks for having me. And
mhm.
it's time to get
You
back
already-
to work, right? Time to get back to
Yes.
work.
You
Absolutely.
already know who I'm rooting for, Michael. I don't have to say it.
I think we can absolutely guys call it a day for today. Really, you're all
Yeah.
happy,
Yeah,
and
that's
good stuff.
I would really like to finish this today, guys, because I respect too much of your time. Two things, literally. Let's first of all, guys, just have a quick look in the website of Michael Todd, guys. He has a lot of information here. The Monster Factory, if you don't already know it, is everything here. Even the meal plan, if you want to eat like a champ, just go literally and have a look into it. And just to closure this, I would really like to do a kind of tradition that I have started with the Graving Duskas and do a kind of honor lift for you, if that's okay, guys. Actually,
All
both.
right.
Always okay with me, buddy.
Excellent. That's very, very good, guys. So, yeah, there we go with my little setup.
Rip it out, buddy. Rip it out.
Rip it out. Actually, on a new handles I have that. Nothing crazy, but so there we go. One for you and one for Michael.
There you go. All right.
Perfection.
Good deal. Good deal.
Let me change this. So, anyways, guys, thank you for coming in. Michael, for giving us your time for this great interview. Skyler, as well, thank you for coming. And
As
guys,
always, buddy.
just subscribe, hit the like button, and see you next time.
Yep.
Take care,
Michael,
guys.
Thank you.
talk to you soon.
Blessed. All righty.
Bye-bye.
See you.